if the Quran is copying from the Bible, isn't it going to copy the same mistakes? Doesn't it make sense to say it's going to copy? Yes.
Yeah.
So when it mentions the story, for instance, when the Quran mentions the story, I'll give one example. There's many examples I can give of mistakes in the Bible, historical and otherwise, the Quran does not mention. In the story of Joseph, at the time of Joseph, it was the period of the Hyksos. The Hyksos was ruling that time Egypt. It was not a Pharaoh period. So whatever the leader was at the time, it was not called Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was later on in the New Kingdom. The term started to be used. It was taken from the palace, and then the palace itself was called Pharaoh, and then it was given to the king. The king was called Pharaoh in the New Kingdom. Now, in the Middle Intermediate Kingdom, which is the time of Joseph, talking about Egyptology now, Egyptian history. So in the Middle Intermediate period, the Hyksos was ruling that land. So at the time of Joseph, it was not a Pharaoh ruling. That term was not even used for the king. It was a king. But the Bible calls him Pharaoh. Whenever Joseph is addressing him, it addresses him. There is a historical error. That cannot be from God, because God knew who was a king and who was a Pharaoh. Now the Quran makes this distinction. At the time of Moses, it calls the leader Pharaoh explicitly, and at the time of Joseph, it called him Malik, king. Now, if the Quran and Prophet Muhammad and whoever is copying, how would that person copying know, oh, look, this is a historical error mistake? Let me just remove and delete this part, and let me correct these guys because they didn't know what is true. I'm copying from them, but I'm correcting them and removing the incorrect historical information that is there. You see how absurd this claim becomes when individuals like this make it. It becomes completely and utterly absurd. And that's why you'll always see any historical, not only historical, but even rational issues in the Bible, Quran does not repeat, because these are interpolations and manipulations and corruptions of men.